Children, today let's see the second part of our class 8 science textbook chapter number 12, that is friction. In the previous video we have studied about what is friction and what are the various types of friction and what are the factors that affect friction. Today we are going to discuss the remaining topics, so let's start. First, let's see calculating frictional force using a spring balance. And to know that, first of all, we have to understand what is a spring balance and how it works. So, spring balance is a device used for measuring the force acting on an object. It consists of a coiled spring which is present inside here, a coiled spring with a hook here, and here we have this graduated scale. The reading on the scale gives the magnitude of the force. That means how much the force is being applied by the object which we will hang here. So, you see, for example, I have one carry bag and it is filled with sand and I'll hook it here. Okay, then what will happen? This mark, can you see a red mark here? If I'll put the carry bag here, then this will be stretched down because here we have spring, and due to the weight of that carry bag containing sand, it will be pulled down, and where it will stop, that is the weight or the magnitude of the force applied by that object or the carry bag filled with sand. So let's say it stops here, then we will say the magnitude is 600. Okay, then if it is stopping here, then we will say 100. So if the object is heavy, we will have lower value. That means lower value in the sense this mark will be lower, because as it is applying more force, it will go down. If it is a very light object, then we will get a higher reading. That means higher reading means low force being applied, so it is not being pulled very much. So you understood? Higher value means light object, lower value means heavy object. So using a spring balance, we can find the frictional forces opposed by different materials. For example, how much frictional force is being applied. Here one example is given. So this is a table, and on a table we have put a block of wood, or you can say block of cement, or it can be anything. Then we are using this spring balance and tying a rope around this and hooking it on the hook of the spring balance. Then when we will pull it, if we will pull it with very less power or very slowly, then it may not be pulled. We have to apply more force, and when it starts to move, then we can see the reading, at what reading it is starting to move, and that will be the frictional force applied by the surface of the table and the surface of this block against each other. Understood? With the help of a spring balance, simply we can understand how much frictional force is being applied from different surfaces. So, as I've said before, sandpaper gives a higher reading as compared to stainless steel. We know that sandpaper is lighter in weight than a piece of stainless steel. So sandpaper will give higher value, that means low force, as comparison to stainless steel, which will be having more frictional force. So it is more heavy, so more force will be applied there. So this is how we can help it. The spring balance can help us to measure a force. Our next topic is friction produces heat. Friction, as we know, is the opposing force, so friction produces heat. That's why rubbing our hands together makes them warmer. When we rub our hand, the surface of our palm, our skin, rub against each other, and it produces friction. So that friction leads to production of heat. Friction causes the molecules on rubbing surfaces to move faster, so they have more energy. You must know about kinetic energy. So when we rub any two surface or the palms of our hand, the molecules there present, the surfaces which are in contact, the molecules there gain more energy, and hence it produces heat. Rubbing gives more energy, and this makes their temperature higher, and that is why they feel warmer. Heat from friction can be useful if it not only warms your hands, it also lets you light a match. That is why we have to rub the matchstick with a surface, hard surface. Then the friction, the heat produced by the friction in that case helps us to light the matchstick. On the other hand, heat from friction between moving parts inside a car engine can be a big problem, because the heat being produced there due to friction can cause the car to overheat. So the friction produces heat, and that heat can be good for us in some instances, and on the other hand it may give us problems also. Next, let's see what are the advantages of frictional force. Just now we have discussed one of the advantages is striking a matchstick to light it. Then the spiked shoes of cricket players or football players. These pointed spikes provides more friction, and hence the player can easily run on the surface. Otherwise, while running very fast, they might get slipped and fall down also. We are able to drive automobiles, that is also thanks to frictional force, because the frictional force of the tires between the tires and the road surface helps us to drive smoothly. If the road is slippery, maybe it snowed the earlier day, or if it is wet, then it becomes slippery and the driver may not have proper control on the automobile, and it may lead to accidents. Then writing on paper or writing on a blackboard with the help of a chalk, that is also due to the frictional force. Due to the frictional force, the lead of the pencil can easily graze upon the paper and leave its residue. Just same happens in the case of chalk and the blackboard. So these are some of the advantages of frictional force. Some of the disadvantages of frictional force are also there. They are more force is required to drive. As more frictional force, the surface is more rough, we have to put more frictional force will be there, and to overcome that frictional force, we have to apply more force to drive on that surface, especially when we are using or when we are cycling. Next is wear and tear of materials, like the soles of our shoes, the grooves on the tires. As they keep on running, or as we keep on walking on the surfaces or on the roads, and the tires keep on going on the surface, then what happens? This frictional force leads to wear and tear. That means the grooves become smooth, and hence we have to buy new tires or new shoes. Otherwise, it will be very slippery for us to walk or to drive. Then it also causes noise pollution. As in the case of planes, it experiences the resistance from the air. That means the frictional force from the air, and hence when it is flying, it produces loud sound, which may lead to noise pollution. Then it also causes forest fire. Like, let's see, many trees are there, and when some trees fall down due to various causes like heavy rain, heavy wind and all, so when trees fall down, they rub against each other, and that produces friction. As the surface of the trees are very rough, when they rub against each other, it produces frictional force, which again in turn produces heat, and that heat may lead to forest fire. Now let's see how can we reduce friction. Because of the disadvantages of friction, in some cases we have to reduce the friction. So there are various ways. For example, when we play carom board, in the carom board, the strikers have to move swiftly so that we can play properly. That is why we put fine powders on the carom board so that the striker can glide smoothly over it. Next is polishing of the surface. Like with the help of a sandpaper, when we polish it on any surface, it makes the surface smooth, and smoother surface produces less friction. Then with the help of wheels or ball bearings, they also help in reducing the friction. That is why it is easier to pull a trolley than pulling a box which will slide. As we know, the rolling friction is less than sliding friction. So instead of just pulling or sliding the carriers or the boxes or our luggage, if we put wheels there, like in the case of trolley, it will be easy for us to pull it and move easily. Another one is putting grease or oil. Now this grease or oil, they helps to make the surface between the machines move smoothly. They can move smoothly, and hence smooth movement means low friction, and low friction means low heat being produced, and if the machine doesn't get overheat, it can work smoothly. Overheating of the machines is bad for the machine itself, as they might get damaged. Now let's see how can we increase friction. To increase friction, also we have various methods, like the gymnast or the weightlifters, they rub coarse powder like chalk powder onto their hands, so that while lifting the weight or doing gymnastic, their hand doesn't get slipped. In the case of carom board, here we use fine powder, but in the case of gymnasts or weightlifters, we use coarse powder like the chalk powder. Then the grooves on the sole of our shoes or on the tires also help to increase friction. Then applying of the brake on the vehicles, this also helps in increasing the friction. So children, in this chapter we have discussed various topics, like what is friction, what are the types of friction. 4 types we have discussed: static friction, sliding friction, rolling friction, and fluid friction. How fluid friction can be reduced, that is by the shape, that is streamlined body, we can reduce it. Then in this part we have discussed how we can calculate the frictional force with the help of spring balance. Then how friction produces heat, what are the advantages and disadvantages of the friction, and how can we increase and reduce the friction. I hope that you have understood this chapter properly. For better understanding, you must go through your textbook at least once, and in the next video we will see the next chapter. For now, thank you.